A little bit of a technical problem, so we take two. So today we're talking about attention bias and the correlation with anxiety. Now, there are up to 175 cognitive biases. Today we're going to briefly discuss attention bias and anxiety. When we think attention bias in simplistic terms, think of attention bias as, let's say for example, you're feeling hungry. Let's say you're feeling peckish, it's 12 o'clock, and everything and anything that's mentioned around food goes into your conscious radar. So think of attention bias. That's a simplistic way of putting it. Now, research suggests people with anxiety interpret ambiguous words and situations more threatening than people who don't have anxiety. So it suggests a correlation or a possible causation between the onset and maintenance of an anxious mood. So let's think of a potentially stressful situation. So it could be a job interview, it could be an exam, it could be a big sporting event. So a potentially stressful situation, in the way we appraise the situation, the person with anxiety focuses their attention on the threatening information coming in, and they become hyper vigilant to the dangers surrounding the appraisal comparatively to someone who doesn't have anxiety or is more neutral in those situations. So people with anxiety tend to pick up on threatening information, and information that is more neutral and ambiguous, and the interpretation of the appraisal situation is potentially a correlation or causation to spark that maintenance of the anxious mood. So in a nutshell, increased interpretation of ambiguous situation and making it threatening, increased orientation towards the information as being threatening, and that decreased ability to disengage from the potential disempowerment of what could happen. So for example, the appraisal of the interview could be worst case scenario, the appraisal of the sporting event could be worst case scenario, or the appraisal of the presentation could be worst case scenario. Either those are neutral or the most realistic things that's happening. So it makes a lot of sense in view of that, in certain situations, that target the attention biases of people who've got anxiety. Now, the important thing to note, obviously, in any anxiety, it's always important to rule out any organic disorders. So obviously the appropriate person should rule out any potential organic disorders, and also things are multifactorial. So irrespective of where you put your attention to, if you're not prepared for the interview, we're not ready for the exam, we don't want the job, then it may cause a sense of anxiety as well. But all things being well, one thing to consider, and certainly there's a large body of research to suggest that the attention bias of people who do have anxiety do make ambiguous situations more threatening than people who don't have the same level of anxiety. So live with passion, boom!